We'll give it a couple seconds here to fire up. Uh, that's 20 seconds, and that should be enough time to get going. We'll welcome everybody to the early chat, early show. I think we're going to go with like early show. 'Cause back in the day, there used to be an early chat, so don't want to take any like copyright stuff on that. So I think we're going to go with early show, as long as I can remember to do so. But yeah, hope everyone's doing well. Send some invites out to Corey and Honda and Matt. I know Matt's probably still working right now because I think he works like a 9 to 5, and I mean, technically just after 5 his time, so he has to do the whole family thing. So, Duke sent him an invite, but I know he's doing family stuff too. So, may just be me. Maybe a short show tonight. I'm exhausted, if you can't already see. Just long couple nights and early mornings and lots of stress and all that fun jazz. So we'll see how long we run it for. But don't know if Honda will show up either. I know there was apparently some stuff on last night's chat. So I know he said he might take a day or two break. So we'll see. But yeah, wanted to hop on here, see if anyone had any topics they want to directly address. And I apologize ahead of time if there's any background noise. I found out about 30 minutes ago that there's a raccoon in my walls. So, long story short, came home, and we've been having storms like the last 2 days. And so where my apartment is, it's in the back of our complex, kind of its own. Our building kind of does like a weird like Tetris figure shape. So like it comes in this way, then there's a small connecting hallway, and then my back section's over here. So I came up the stairs, and my door's as soon as you get to the top of the stairs, first apartment on the left is my apartment, and then there's 3 other apartments. There's one right across from me, and then 2 at the far end of the section, and then on the back of the section is a doorway with an emergency set of stairs that goes down to an exit. Well, came up the stairs, and I realized that there's a ceiling tile on the floor, and I was kind of like, oh, that's weird. Like, I don't know if the storm, because we've been having some heavy winds and stuff, maybe something happened, or there's kids in the one apartment down that way. So it's like, maybe one of them like bumped into the wall, knocked it loose, whatever. It's a drop ceiling type stuff in the hallway there. So as I look up, I see a raccoon tail scurry up into the ceiling. I'm like, oh, that's what that is. And so of course, like I run over there to see if I could like see if it was looking down. It was gone. It was up in the ceiling and stuff. So it should stay warm because there's a heating. It's where like the heating and plumbing and stuff is. So it'll be warm because the heating pipes are up there. And the building itself is warm. So they got to call the office in the morning. Well, go down to the office in the morning because after hours, they're not going to do anything. Unless the building's like on fire, they won't do squat. So it's apartment complexes. I used to work for them as a telemarketer. Well, not a telemarketer, in their telecom section. So I know all the ins and outs, the answering for different apartment complexes, what they'll dispatch for, what they won't. So I'll just go down. I have a pretty good repertoire with the office. I'll just go down in the morning and tell them about it. So, what's up, Dwayne? Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think there will be any trolls over here because I haven't publicized it yet on Matt's chat. One of these chats I'll actually remember to do so, but like pitch this show out there, but I doubt we'll see any. But yeah, hopefully no trolls, but yeah. So then I realized after the raccoon went in there, like I feel bad for whoever's in this apartment directly here because that was the section that the raccoon got up into. So I can hear it like in their roof over on that side. I can kind of hear it in this wall some when it's scurrying around. So it has really no way. I mean, I guess I could get up into this ceiling section, but it can't get into like this wall or I think my walls and stuff in my bedroom would be too thin because there's not as much of a gap, but who knows. But yeah, so that's my dilemma I've been dealing with for the last 30 minutes or so. So again, if you hear background noise, I apologize. Hasn't gone off for about 15 minutes or so, so maybe he scurried his way out, but who knows. But yeah. Outside that, not a whole hell of a lot is new. I know Matt covered quite a bit of stuff on his chat last night. So news, politics, and all that good stuff wise. I was looking today something about Russia moving troops or nukes or something like that. I'm still not worried about it. Maybe I should be, but by this point, I've learned to not worry about stuff I can't control. I can't directly use magic and stop anything from happening, so I'm not going to worry about it. It's just my mindset. I can only worry about what I can control. So, outside of that in the news, I'm trying to think what else I saw today. I guess Kanye West pissed some people off with some shirt he wore. I know I had seen something about that. I've honestly been so out of it today, like just dealing with work stuff. So let's see what is going on in the world. Oh yeah, North Korea sent a missile over Japan. Big whoop. They've done that type of stuff before. They send missiles over Taiwan all the time, so I'm really not too worried about it because I don't think Japan's really going to act unless they actually had one connect. So not too concerned there. Let's see, something about Kamala. I could care less. Yeah, there's not a whole hell of a lot that's like that wasn't already covered yesterday. A lot of it's just a continuation of stuff from what I'm seeing. I did see something the other day about one of the U.S. Navy aircraft carriers had contaminated water. I guess they like flushed the jet fuel system somehow into the water system, so that was fun. Do you see either of the aisles not raising hell over the electrons? Wait, what do you mean, Dwayne? Do you see either of the aisle not raising hell over the electrons? Oh, elections. Jesus. I pulled a map where I couldn't read. Oh my God. I had a moment. Sorry about that. Do you see either of the aisle not raising hell over the elections? I think you mean like, do you see either side of the aisle not raising hell over the elections? No, I think whoever wins come to election time is gonna, whoever loses, I should say, is gonna raise hell, no matter what. I think that's gonna happen because on one side we have, I gotta be careful what I say, but there's a precedence that showcases that potentially maybe there's some stuff, some shenanigans that happened. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe there were shenanigans, I don't know. So one side has that precedent. The other side is going to, if anything else happens, instantly claim their typical stuff, racism, sexism, corruption. It's okay for them to say that stuff wasn't legitimate, but if the other side says stuff wasn't legit or questions the legitimacy, then they all get shut down. But if the other side questions it, it's okay for them to do it. That's fine. No problems at all with that. So, shit on my fucking computer screen. So yeah, either way, there's gonna be hell. There's gonna be crying about it. And probably, and I can't say because we don't know what the elections are gonna bring. But if we go off of what we're seeing in the country right now with elections happening, at least from what I've seen, I feel it's going to go a certain way. So if it doesn't go that way, out of the blue, especially if it's like, oh yeah, everything's going that way, and then all of a sudden, whatever, like 3 o'clock in the morning it switches, that's just gonna be a little shady in my opinion. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see what those all that stuff brings. But I think either way, people are gonna be pissed. Now, one side's obviously going to get more coverage on how vocal they are, I think. But um, yeah, it'll be it'll be interesting. I don't have a play in the fight, honestly, because I am registered as a independent. Um, so nothing. I can't vote in like my state elections here coming up for like governor and all that stuff because you have to either be Republican or Democrat, and you have to vote party lines there. Um, when it comes to that stuff, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they lost the House. Not at all. I am surprised that nightly news is even reporting anywhere as close to that. And maybe it's as a tactic of like, oh, here's what the polls are showing so far. So if we say this, we'll get more Democratic voters to go out and vote. Whatever. Because even you look at the last couple elections, like it was still, I shouldn't say a small part of the population voted, but what was it like? 60, maybe 70%. I don't remember the number. I know it's far less than you would think from 100. Like normally it'd be like, oh, like 90% of the population or something. It's like, no, it's not even close to that. So yeah, we'll see. I want to be optimistic. I really do, because I do try to stay hopeful on stuff, but at the same time, history, especially recently, has shown that you can't always be. So I'm just kind of twiddling my thumbs. Hope if what I want happens, fantastic. But I'm also not getting my expectations too high. So that's just where I stand right now. Sorry, I'm getting messages out the wazoo from. Jesus, I don't. Okay, work stuff that can easily wait till tomorrow. Yeah. So we'll see. Outside that, trying to think what else. Sitting here hunting around on the internet right now. I almost bought another gun this weekend. Almost. I was really tempted, but I ended up not doing it, and probably for the better, because I found out one of my things at work didn't pan out today. So one of my deals. Um, any new guns in the future? Yeah. So I'm not planning on buying any new guns. Like there was nothing that I was like, oh, I need to go get this. Like I would love to get like a Rossi 92, like a lever action and 357 38. Like I'd love to get something like that. I'd love to build like another AR. I really want to get a couple more like carry sized handguns just to kind of, you know, change up what I have. But nothing that's like, oh, I definitely need this type of gun. I want to pick up another shotgun, preferably something with like a field barrel on it, so I can go like skeet shooting or hunting or whatever. But nothing that's like I need to have type stuff. But I was at I went to one of my local gun shops, well, two of my local gun shops, local. Not here in Philly, up by where my parents live, up about 2 hours north this weekend. And at one of them, neither one of them had a lot of used guns. Both of them were almost out of used guns, but one of them had one of those Gerson, like the Beretta 92 clones. And I think it came with, I forget if it was 2 or 3 magazines. They want $350 for it, and I really debated it because I was like, for $350 to have like a Beretta, a Beretta. I don't know anything about those guns. I believe they're Turkish made, if I remember correctly, but buying it used, I didn't feel bad about that. I just don't know how they run or anything compared to your Berettas or your Tauruses. So that kind of gave me a red flag. 2, waiting on one of my deals at work to go through. I was like, I don't really want to spend the money unless this deal goes through, which it didn't. So I'm like, I still could, but like, I'd rather not. And 3, I was like, for 350, I just feel that's not enough of a discount on a used gun, or I should say on that used gun, because I think new they're only going for like 4. So why would I spend 350? I don't know. Like if it had been closer to 3, I probably would have bought it, to be honest. But at 350, I was just like, eh. So I passed on it. But if I could find something like that, Shadow Systems CR920, that's for 450 beans. That's a hell of a deal. Those Shadow Systems, not a Glocks, are solid from what I've heard. And I mean, that's the price of a used Glock 19. So Glock 19, Glock 17, like those are going used, at least from what I've seen, for like 450 beans. So to get Shadow Systems, which in my opinion is probably a little better, it's a good deal. My actually, while I'm here, my local has an actual local. Like it's literally like right down the road from. It's less than a mile down the road from me. It's technically a gun shop, but it's a hood gun shop, for lack of a better term. It is a hood gun shop. Like it is, you go into it and there's like a table in the middle. There's like check cashing machines and like lotto ticket machines. And then there's like a cage and there's a guy in the back, and basically like there's no guns there that you can see. He's like, oh yeah, if you want to buy guns or ammo or something, you just hop on the website and check it out and let us know what you want to buy. Or you can do transfers there. Like that's what a lot of people do, is they buy stuff online, they have it transferred there, and then they do the 4473 there, pay for the transfer and whatever, and get their gun. So, but they have a couple. They also buy stuff off people, and it was used also. Yeah, I figured it would be used for that price, but I mean, that's a good price even for a used one. Um, yeah, this place down the road from me, like they sell new stuff, but again, it's all in the back. So it's like, yeah, they're selling brand new Gen 5s for 560 beans, but they have an Smith and Wesson M&P 45 and 45 with 2 mags for 400 beans. I've been debating on that one. I have 2 1911, so I'm like, I really don't need it, but why not? They have a used P10 CZ, like the subcompact one, for 475 beans. Thought about that for a hot minute. They have, what else did they have there that I was looking at? They have a couple Tauruses and stuff. They have the new, the GX4? That's like 350 beans. They have some like 30-30 lever actions. Nothing in 357-38, which sucks, because that's really what I don't want it in 30-30. I just don't want another caliber I have to deal with, But if I have to go that route, I will. They had something else there. Yeah, I forget what it was. I'm just going through their website right now. So I know, invigorating for everyone watching. Oh, they had a Mossberg Shockwave, like it's not the marine finish, but it's like that gray finish. That was 450 beans. I just really want another Shockwave. I missed that I got rid of my Shockwave. Like I kicked myself for getting rid of it. Now granted, I traded it for an AR pistol, so like I technically won out on that, but I'd love another Shockwave. But we'll see. Well, that's a big maybe someday type deal. Outside that, they really don't have much. They don't sell, like they don't carry a heck of a lot. Like they have some. No, they had some G2s and stuff down there, but I think they sold all those Tauruses. Yeah, they have one G2 right now, but it's in 40 cal. I don't want a 40 cal, so I'm like, well, there's that. So Yeah, I've been trying to get my hands on like the three. Like if I was to get something, I part of me debates between like a 365 and like the GX4. Obviously, the GX4 is gonna be cheaper, but I could probably find a 365 for cheap. The thing with the 365, there's so many different options now for the 365, and I do like the fact that like certain ones, if you wanted to, you could get it. I mean, granted, I'm sure you could for the GX4 also get it for a red dot. Um, but yeah, I was looking down at the one they have down there, and I was like, and that's a very possible is the GX4. But then I think about the same time, I'm like, if I'm gonna do that, like, do I just go up to like the G2C or like the G3C or whatever the heck it is? Like, maybe I don't know. So, different ideas to play around with. Um, but yeah, so that's what that looks like. Yeah, they don't have anything else. They have some like Stevens shotguns and stuff like that, but I don't want a Stevens. But yeah, so if I could find actually my one of the places up by my parents' house, it's like a cop shop gun store, but I mean usually they have pretty good use selection. Last time I was in there, they had actually quite a few 12 gauges with like field barrels and stuff on them, different types, and I almost bought one, but I was in the process of like literally that weekend I was going to be doing a bunch of traveling around up there, and I was like, I don't want. It was Friday when we went. I was like, I don't want to drive around all weekend with a large shotgun in the back of my car. Um, so we'll see. I know I have to go back up there this week, and I'm actually going to be like right down the road from that same shop, so I might stop in there because I'm going to go up earlier. I might stop up there, see what they got. You know, if they have something great. They had. I kicked myself about a month and a half ago. I was up there. Yeah, because it was in July, so it was like tail end of July. I was up there. So shit, 2 months ago. Um, maybe it was early August. Anyways, doesn't matter. Forget. But they had a Beretta, an actual Inox Beretta, used 3 mags for I think it was $600, and I kick myself for not buying that because a new Beretta 92, whether it be the FS or whatever, like unless you're getting like the super crazy ones, those are going for like like five, high five, sixes. And I'm like, this is an Inox one, so it's even cooler, and it has extra mags because Beretta mags aren't cheap. I was like, man, like should have bought it. Looking back at, should have bought it. And it was one of those things like I looked at it, I was like, yeah, I should buy that, and I was like, you know what, that's fine, whatever. So I just kicked myself for it, but that's the long story short on any guns in my near future is we'll see. I always impulse buy. Like there's nothing that's come out recently in years that I'm just like I need to have that gun. There's guns like I'd like a good quality AK, but I also don't really want to spend $1,000 on a gun right now. And for me to get a good quality AK, that's what I'm gonna have to spend. Um, so I just don't want to spend that type of money right now. I'd love a 308, like a FAL or a Set Me or something like that. But again, you're looking at $1,000 at least for one of those. So I just don't want to spend that right now. I could probably I could probably get an AR-10 for maybe cheaper. Maybe I could build one cheaper, but even then, not by much. So it's yeah. So we will see. Most likely, my next gun will probably be some sort of either field length shotgun or some other smaller handgun right now. Because right now, like I've been carrying my LCP all the time, just because it's been summertime and whatnot. But now that it's getting warmer, I want to step it up. But most of my warmer time guns, like I sold my Glock 27 years ago. I've sold off more of those like small, like compact and subcompact, like 9mm and larger caliber guns. So like most of my guns now that are bigger than 380 are either like full size guns, or I do have a Nada Glock G19, but I haven't really run it, so I don't want to carry that yet. And just with it being warmer weather, people wearing more layers and stuff, I just want something a little bit bigger. Yeah, the VR80s are cool. I actually got my hands on the one shop I went to, I've got my hands on one finally, because I've seen them at like one or two shops, so I've never actually got my hands on them because they was on like the back wall and like all the staff's busy. So I'm like, fuck it, I don't care enough about it. I can tell you what, the first shop I went to that had that, because they had a great selection on the floor, way more than 600 beans. Like try like 830 beans, I think they were charging for it. It was insane. But this shop was also selling mismatched Ishvik Mosins for $500. They had a Rossi 92 there, which is, new, about maybe a $600 gun, like 550, 600 beans. They were selling it for almost 800 beans. So this place they shot the prices up, but it's because it's one of those shops. They have a huge selection of new stuff. They have everything under the sun. It's a massive store, and they have all the news. Like if you're listening to the radio, they're the gun shop that promotes themselves on the news. They have commercials, so they can charge that stuff because the people that are coming in, even the girl I'm talking to, like she wants to go down there, and I'm like, don't bother, because the amount of money you're going to be spending on it is going to be so obnoxious. It's not worth it. And like, granted, it's a great store to go to if you have a specific gun you want to take a look at, because they probably have it in stock. You can get your hands on it, get a feel for it, make sure it's something that you would want to buy. Just don't buy it there because you're going to overpay for it. So that's the kicker. But outside that, probably going to only run this for about another 15 minutes or so, to be honest. It's going to be a short chat tonight because I got work stuff I got to start off at 8 again. Just some wrapping up stuff for the night. But wanted to make sure I got the chat up there for you guys. And then I'll be on Matt's chat later because I think he starts at 9 or 10 Eastern. I forget, honestly. All the chats kind of blend together after a while. But yeah, so I'd love to actually, speaking of shotguns, the only caveat I would get to, again, if I find like an awesome impulse buy that's way worth the money, then I'll buy it. But I want to get a shotgun with like a field barrel, or I'd be willing to get like another Shockwave or something like that, because I really did like that Shockwave. Just 'cause there's a lot of stuff you can do to them that makes them cool, and then I can just spend the money on a field barrel for my Benelli. Or if I could get like a good like over under side by side shotgun. They had a couple at that first gun shop, but they were, again, stupid expensive. Like they had one that was like, someone had Cerakoted a double barrel shotgun, and like not like a new double barrel shotgun, like an older one. Cerakoted it tan, and I'm like, this is stupid, and they still want $500 for it. I've been looking at the Beretta APXs actually, because you can get those for a really good deal. I haven't got my hands on one yet, but you can they just didn't launch off for Beretta, so I've been looking at those. I think they're a pretty solid gun. I want to get one in my hands to see how it feels and everything, but those APXs, they're a hell of a good deal right now, and that would fit my winter carry needs, because I have a CZ, I have a P10 that I could carry, but that's also kind of like stashed away as part of a kit, and I really don't want to have to replace that with something else because I'm just lazy. I'm like, I like where it's at. I like what it's a part of. Like, I don't want to have to carry that if I don't have to. So I still got a couple months before everyone starts breaking out the big puffy heavy coats, but I'll still find something before then. But worst case scenario, I can carry something, I'm a bigger guy. I can carry something full size, or I can figure something out capacity wise, where I can carry something with at least a little bit higher capacity. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The new shockwaves that run the mini shells reliably and stuff. Like I just want something that would be, because my shockwave was awesome, and I had all these plans for it, and then I got offered um an AR pistol for it. And I didn't have an AR pistol at the time. All I had was my carbine. I was like, strategically, this is a better weapon platform than a shockwave. It just is. Like the shockwave's cool, but this is better for like actual having to do stuff. So I went that route. And then fortunately, yeah, I can't blame the person that sold it. I mean, they needed money. I didn't really have the money at the time, but it's just like, oh, man, wish you'd sold that better time because I would have bought it back from you. But yeah, I like how you can get. I mean, at least as of now, still, you can get those like braces for them and stuff where it has the brace system on it, which makes a nice little cool little home defense shotgun. So, I mean, I have a home defense shotgun, but as I said, like if I was to get that, I would spend the money, the couple $100. Oh, it's so stupid the prices, and just get a field barrel for my Benelli. But it's fun with owning Benellis. They're great shotguns. They're reliable as hell. They're fun, but if you want to get anything for them, it is expensive. So, but yeah. Outside of that, I'm trying to think what else. Let's see. Anything else going on in the world? Ain't squat. So, anyone have any topics out there that I can address? Feel free to drop them in. As I said, I'll probably keep this run until about 8 Eastern. I'm going to call it. And if you have more topics, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark in my book to make sure I remind people that I do this chat. I can mark it on Matt's chat. At least let people know, so maybe we'll get some more conversations going in future weeks. I know next week I'll definitely be on here, or I should be on here. Week after that, I might be doing some travel. I know there's going to be a week in November that I'm doing some traveling. I might be doing some traveling next week. But if I do end up ever having to reschedule it, I'll try to post something on the Discord or something like that, just so people know. Or let them know ahead of time, like, hey, I'll throw up like a short or something like that on YouTube and let people know, like, hey, gonna do it on Wednesday instead this week or what have you. But we'll see. So, yeah, there's that. So I just got a text here from one of my people. Sorry, guys. I know this is absolutely riveting, but I do have to actually respond to this text here I just got. So I'm dealing with a client that was supposed to call back one of my candidates last night. Never did. Called this morning instead when she was dropping her kids off, so she didn't respond. Then because she's working busy all day, she didn't get back to him. So fucking headaches. I told him too, like the 2-hour window she was available. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'll call then." Didn't call this morning. Drive me crazy. I am located just outside of Philadelphia currently. So that's where I am at, Dwayne. But and it's coldish. I can't really complain because I know there's people that live in colder areas, and I know it's going to get colder. So whatever. But for me, even though I'm from Pennsylvania originally, and I've lived out in Arizona for 5 years, and granted we get cold out there, like we'll drop into the 30s in the winter time in the like early mornings. But the last 2 days here have been downpours all day, and like I don't think it's broken out of the 40s. So it's just like wet and cold and miserable. So it's supposed to finally warm up like Thursday, I think. So when it comes to guns, like, oh man. So when I was in Arizona, there was one shop we would always go to that was like, it was always had a good used selection, like an awesome used selection. Oddball stuff was always in there. Like you could get some amazing prices. And then like obviously during COVID prices went up. But they were coming down pretty good. Like they had pretty well leveled. They hadn't come all the way down to where they were before COVID yet, but they were getting there when I left. And then I came out here. It's been 5 years since I've been in a gun shop out here. And so when I went back home, one of the gun shops was closed I used to go to. The other one was that cop shop that I would go to, and like they always had like what I thought was decent prices, but they weren't that Arizona places prices. And they don't have the same selection. Now they get more used stuff than a lot of places out there get or up there get. But they weren't amazing. And then there was the two other shops that I had never been into, and when I went in there, I was like, wow, okay, like almost no used stuff. What used stuff there was like high end used stuff. As I said, outside that Gerson, or like that first shop, it was just so obnoxiously priced. That was just nah, dog, I'm good. I think they had, what was it they had in there? I want to say it was like a used Ruger LCP, like basically just like mine, used Ruger LCP. They wanted like $280 for, like I paid $220 for this thing. Now, granted, it was several years ago, but like I paid $220 for this thing back in the day. You're telling me now it's 280? I don't think so. Especially with the LCP2 that's come out. Like you have the LCP2 and you have the what is it? The Ruger's what is it? Max 9 or something like that. Like, nah, dog. I'm pretty sure original LCPs ain't fetching used $280. Like for 280 beans, I can pick up a used, Taurus G2C. I can pick up EC9, like an older EC9. I can pick up, the LCP Max. Yeah, I can pick up. There's a lot of guns I can pick up for $280, like that are comparable 380s or 9mm or something like that. I mean, so nah, I'm good. Wouldn't actually, now that I think about it, wouldn't mind picking up a used car. I've always liked cars. I've got my hands on a couple, and I've seen that cop shop I was talking about. I've seen them up there a couple times. Some of the, because I know car has a variety of ranges, and I forget what models equal to what, like what tier, but some of their like lower to mid tier stuff, they've been decent prices. So I might take a look and see if I can find something like that. As I said, I'll probably swing up there Saturday before I have to go up to a diaper party for one of my friends that's having a kid. But it's not till like later on in the afternoon. So I try to leave here because it's about an hour and a half, 2 hour drive up there, depending on traffic. And if you leave this area after like 10 a.m., it's like add an extra hour onto it because it takes you an hour to go 30 miles. So I'm probably gonna leave here earlier in the morning. It gives me some downtime up there. I'll shop at the gun shop, run some errands. Ahoy, Tara. How's it going? Figured you're probably out on the road. Hope all is well. But yeah, so that's that in a nutshell. STR9SC. Which one's the STR9? STR9. I have to look this up. I'd look it up directly on this computer, but it's my work computer, so they might get angry. Plus, it's probably blocked. STR9SC. STR9SC. PSA daggers are also pretty cheap right now, but I don't think they have a subcompact version. Oh, so this is a Stoker. Okay. Stokers are a good gun, from what I've known. STR9SC. That actually 10 plus 1 for 199 beans? That's not a bad deal at all. Oh, shit, dude. I didn't realize. See? Attention, clearly.
What's going on, brother?
Not much. Actually, that's a really good deal. Yeah, Dwayne Christensen. If you can find an STR9SC for 199 beans, that seems like a hell of a deal. It's like G26 size and same capacity.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of Stokers around. It's kind of like the they're very similar. Like you don't see them, like you don't see the Styers. Like they're just not around at all.
Yeah, I've been considering maybe selling something so I can go get that Marlin Camp Carbine 45 that I saw yesterday at my local gun store.
That's a hell of a deal, dude. I like that thing is just gonna go up in price, and you could like, even if you wanted to, you could probably resell it and make money off of it. Like get it, resell it, and make money.
Yeah, because you just don't really see, me personally, I haven't seen one of those in a very long time.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back. I think I've seen one. I want to say it was like back like when I first moved out to Arizona. That same gun shop I was talking about earlier, I think had one. So it would have been early 2017, or I'm sorry, late 2017, early 2018. They had one. And I remember Heavy was all about it because like he grew up like, hey, you guys have ever watched Heavy from old match chats and stuff? Like he grew up with one of those, and like he loved the thing, and so he didn't buy it at the time because they wanted absurd money for it then. Never mind post-COVID times.
Right.
And then Ruger came out with the PC9 or whatever it was, and he got one in 40 because he had a 40 Glock, so he wanted the 40 cal one, and he loved that thing. So
yeah, they were even willing to do some wiggle room, so I could probably talk them down even further than the 700 beans that they're asking for.
Oh hell yeah! Like if you could get that for like 650 or something, that's a hell of a deal. Yeah, that's not bad, Tara. I mean, I don't even know the last time I got a massage. Not much of a massage. I'm weird with like people I don't know touching me, but it's a good one though if you don't know what day, time, space, whatever you're in, I guess. So
the thing with me with massages is I can hardly ever find anybody that is strong enough to do a good deep tissue massage.
yeah.
To really work out those knots and kinks and everything. It's just
Yeah.
They're just too weak.
I see those things they have now that are like, it's like a small little fist. It looks sad to say, but it looks like there's some weird like sex toy type thing, but it's like a little like fist thing that's supposed to like, you're supposed to be able to use on your muscles. But then you look at the thing, it looks like the size of the, I'm sure people still use them. Like I have a normal size vacuum cleaner for my apartment, but the old like, the little vacuums that you'd use for like doing like couch cushions and shit like that. It looks like one of those, or like the little Dyson ball thing. It's like, oh cool, how am I supposed to angle this around my back? Never mind like if I'm all like tensed up from a workout, I can only get my arm like this high or something, or like I can only go like this far before like my muscles don't move anymore. How am I supposed to get the center of my back? Like you can't unless you like turn it on like and like set it on your counter and like back up to it or something. Like fuck that.
Too much work.
Yep. But
See that that picture that I put in the group text to Duke?
I haven't checked the group text for a couple hours, so let me see. What do we got? Holy shit, you guys are fucking.
I saw that
fucking...
today at Walmart. I had to get my sisters a few things. I saw that and I thought of Duke. I was like, I had to take a picture of it and send it to him.
It does. That's like definitely a Killer Clowns from Outer Space mask.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
He's like, oh hell no.
Oh hell no, dude! I fucking lost it last night when we were on Discord. I hear him. Hey, I gotta go through the laundry, and I hear him walking away, and like you hear him kind of, and then you just hear, ah! Like I was like in the distance. So I'm like, was that TV that I heard? Nope.
Yeah,
Nope.
I hate that I missed it because I came in right after that happened.
You came in literally right after. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. But
he's just, I love Duke. He's so easy to scare and
so easy to terrify. So easy to freak out. Yeah, it's great. I don't know how he goes. I mean, I love him to death, but I don't know how he does good, like hunting in the woods. Like when he's like, "Oh yeah, I was out hunting and like we went out and it was still dark out and I'm up in the tree stand just in the wilderness." I'm like, how? Like you're afraid of everything. Like I just picture him being freaked out by like every like snap of a branch he hears in the woods or like every like rustling of leaves or something. Like thinking of.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say like he's thinking like the Michigan Dog Man's gonna come get him or something.
Have you seen those videos of the hunters that are up in the tree blinds, and all of a sudden like a cub or two will come up the tree or a bear in general, and they're just like looking at you, checking everything out. I think Duke would fucking shit himself and probably have a heart attack if a bear crawled up the fucking tree at him.
Oh yeah. Did you see the one that I saw it a couple? I want to say like 2 weeks ago. There's a guy. I want to say it was bow hunting. I think it was. So he's not up in a tree. He's actually on the ground, but he's like kind of behind a blind. And this grizzly bear just starts walking right up to him. He's in it. It's like, and finally he had like a line on the like between the trees or something, like just like a line with some like foliage on it and stuff. And the bear goes to like stand up and like walk over the line. And he's like, yeah, and he's like, whoa! And the bear's like, oh, okay. Like he stops and walks away. Like I was like, yeah, that'd be a oh shit mode, because like he's just sitting there with his bow, like, dude.
That's why if you're bow hunting, you always got to carry, some kind of, like 44 mag or something on your hip, just in case of a captain like that. That bow ain't gonna do you shit. Ain't gonna do you one bit good,
No, especially at that range.
I saw a video a couple of days ago where this guy starts recording, and he walks into his kitchen, or he looks outside and sees a bear, and he walks to his kitchen and notices the bear got into his freezer and just scattered shit all throughout the house and onto the front porch. And he's like, "You mind if I shut this, asshole?" Slams the door. Bear's just munching on fucking food.
I've seen a couple of those. I saw one where there's like this old lady and like the bear had gone into her house somehow. And so she's like, come on, time for you to go, and like he leaves and he looks back and she's like, are you going to shut the door? And like he turns around and he like grabs the door with his mouth and pulls it shut, like the doorknob.
Yes, I saw that one. I was like,
yeah. She's like, there you go. Yeah, like shut the door. Like, what the fuck? I've only ever had. So where I used to live when I first moved out here in Pennsylvania was like out in the woods. Like we were on a street and like there's other houses and stuff, but it was up on the top of a mountain. Like right across the street from us was a small little farm, And so we'd get deer up there all the time. So like I was used to having deer constantly driving home. Like as soon as I would get off the highway, I'd usually see like 4 or 5 deer, especially, you know, in the fall, winter, into spring and stuff like that. So, and there was times like I'd walk out on our back patio area, like because you had to walk out the back, come around the corner, and like there's where the driveway was with the cars and stuff. And there's times I'd come out there and there's like a deer just like laying on our patio, and like 9 times out of 10 they wouldn't even get up. They just look at you like you're inconveniencing me. Like, come on, keep moving. I'm like,
Right.
I could literally reach out and like hit you with a claw hammer right now and just have meat in the freezer for days. But one night I pulled home and like I'm pulling into the driveway, and so there's a single lane driveway, but you could probably fit like 3, maybe 4 cars if you really tried. But usually my parents parked there, so I would pull off to the side, like the little spot in the yard I had kind of dug out for my car. And so I pull out, and as I'm pulling in, my headlights catch mama bear and cub, and I'm just like, oh. And like I'm coming home from the bar, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna wait till you, because they both stop, and I'm just like, all right, come on. Like I rolled the window down. I'm like, move, come on. Like I want to go into bed, but I'm not getting out of this car with you sitting there. Like you got to go off. Like I'm playing this
Move
game
along now. Keep
yeah,
going.
like come on, like move. And
Use
she
your
took
test,
a couple.
bitch. Use your test.
Yeah, she took a couple minutes, but finally they kept walking across like our field, which is our backyard, into the tree line. I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'm good now. But I think I'm more or less startled. Like she wasn't expecting a Subaru to come pulling into this field.
I've never had an encounter with a bear. You know, partially because I haven't really gone to too many places with bears. You know, Texas, we ain't got them here.
Yeah, we had when I lived out in Oregon. We had, because again we lived up on a mountain when I lived out in Oregon, and we had them get into our garbage a couple times. And one of the times my dad just went out and like, because you had to go out the front door, come around the side of the house. Like our garbage was on the side. There's like this little shed type thing, and kind of like an overhang, just open shed area to keep them out of the weather. And so he like jumped around the corner and like spooked off a bear that was literally terrified of him. Like spilled the garbage everywhere, which he would have done anyways. And like he ran off into the woods. We had mountain lions that harassed us for a little bit because the back side of the house had a deck on it. So the house was on a hill, so the back side had a deck, and on the deck ran the whole length of the house. So there's a sliding door in the kitchen, and then a sliding door in my parents' room at the other side of the house. And right outside that sliding door was a rabbit cage, because my mom had 2 pet rabbits. So there's a rabbit cage, and then there was that little overhang, like tin roof shed thingamajig off the side there. And for a while, like we had this mountain lion that was coming up every night, and it was pissing off our house cats, because our house cats would sit at the kitchen sliding door and like hiss at it and stuff. And then we figured out it was coming up because it was trying to get into the rabbit cage. And so one night again, my dad just like throws open the sliding door, like jumps out, ah! And the cat freaks out. Instead of like running off the deck like normal into the woods, jumps onto the tin roof. But because it's like this rickety ass like tin roof shed thing, it couldn't hold its weight, so collapses the entire thing. Fucking cat crashes down into the ground, runs off. Like, oh god, like fucking. I'm sitting there at like 7 years old. I hear like it sounded like the whole side of the house fell off, honestly. But it was just that tin roof shed thing collapsing. Yeah. So then I got to help my dad put that back together. That was fun. But we didn't have any more problems with the mountain. Yeah, we didn't have any more problems with that mountain lion after then. But yeah, we'd get bears and stuff all the time. Like it was really not a big deal. I'm just used to it. I've never, luckily enough, had like any issues where like going out in the woods, like because when I was young, living there, like my parents were very much like, if you want to go play out in the yard, like you play out in the front yard, because our front yard was fields, the backyard was the woods. So they're like, you know, you can go out play in the front yard. If you're gonna go out in the backyard, we have to be out there with you, because I was smaller and stuff like that. And then we moved away when I was a preteen. Like I was 9 years old when we moved to Rhode Island. So in Rhode Island, they didn't care. They're like, yeah, go play in the woods. We don't really give a shit because like the worst you're gonna run into is like a coyote. Like
Yeah.
not a big deal, you know.
I spent most of my childhood, growing up in the damn woods.
Yeah. Yeah, so like from the age of like 9 onwards, like I was out, and even as like a little kid, like I was out in the woods. It's just I was out in the wood with like my dad around or my mom around or something. Now, granted, my mom wouldn't have been able to do shit if something had happened, but it's just the fact of having an adult there. But yeah, once I was like 9, I was in the woods all the time by myself until I was old enough to have like a car, really. Because even when I was younger with my bikes and stuff, we'd go right over to my buddy's house, pick him up or whatever, or he'd hop on his bike or skateboard or whatever. We'd go head off into the woods.
Yeah, there really wasn't much for me that I had to look out for growing up in South Texas, other than, I grew up going down to the coast all the time. So, there was all threat of sharks and,
yeah,
seeing one swim by you is a little scary, but
yeah,
other than
we had
that,
those.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, we had those because we'd go down to the beach every summer because my cousins would come up from Texas and they always wanted to go to the beach. I'm like, you have your own beaches. Like, fuck. Like, why are you coming to our beaches in a smaller state that's packed with people? Because they always wanted to go they wanted to go to Newport Beach. Newport Beach is the busiest beach in Rhode Island, or at least it was. So it's like, cool. Middle of the summer, you want to go to the busiest beach in the smallest state. Like, fucking A. Like, you literally get there. You can't walk around on the beach. So it's just like, couldn't you come in like the fall or the spring or something and go to the beach? No, you got to come in the summer. Like every year during the summer. And I get it because it's, it was hot in Rhode Island, but it wasn't Texas hot. So I guess I get it. But I'm like, you have your own beaches down there. Go to your own beaches down there to get away from the heat. But
yeah,
we.
The only big animal that I ever had an encounter with, and if I wouldn't have been on a 4-wheeler, I would have died. I worked in the oil field, and the company I was working for at the time was a water transfer company. Basically, we set up these big aluminum pipes that were probably 40 feet long with a 10-inch diameter. And you hook them up to like a pond or a good flowing creek, and they would suck water out and shoot it to the frack sites where they would frack the wells.
Yep.
And while we were flowing water, we would have to ride the lines just to make sure there was no major bust or leaks or what have you. And we were in this one pasture out by Granbury, which is home of the Bond Arm Derringers.
Okay, yeah.
And I was riding the line, and I was in this big ass open field, and it was, right as the sun was setting. So it was that in between phase where it's kind of dark, but still a little light.
Yep.
I turned around, and there's these 2 giant fucking buffalo just hauling ass towards me.
Jesus.
And they chased me for probably at least a quarter of a mile until I ran over a cattle guard and they stopped. But they were fucking hot on my ass, and they were quick too, dude.
Oh yeah, buffalo can move.
I was gunning that big should not move
that. Yeah, something that big should not move that fast. That's why you see all those videos that come out like Yellowstone and stuff where people are like, "Oh, the buffalo!" Like all the tourists, and they'll like go mess with them, and then like the buffalo, before you know it, like spins around and beats the shit out of them or kills them or something. Because it's like, yeah, they can move. The closest experience I ever had, I got stuck in an ostrich pen once. That was scary. Yeah, that was scary. I had to hop out of that. I was with my grandparents, and they were visiting friends that were down in California that had ostriches. And me being a smart ass little kid, like I think I was like, again, like I want to say like 7 or 8. I went crawling into this ostrich pen. I'm like, oh yeah, the bird. And like as soon as I got in there, I was like, oh, these things are a lot bigger than they seemed on the other side of that fence. And then they got, I don't know if they really would have done anything, but they got very like alert and very like, oh, we're going to go check this thing out. And I see them just kind of like running over, and I'm just like, And I'm trying the gate. Of course, the gate's locked, so I had to end up crawling back over the goddamn thing and like got out of there. So that was just a pucker moment. Um, that same trip, I I don't know where it was, but I know it was near me. There was a rattlesnake near me because I was running up and down. They had a like a hillside. I was running up and down the hillside. And I heard this rattling coming from a bush that was near me, and I'm like, I think I know what that is. I just kind of like stood still and didn't move, and then it stopped, and I was just like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. And then I was just like, well, I can either stay here and just nothing happens, or I can slowly walk away from this bush because it was either that bush or the other bush, and I'm like, no, I'm just gonna walk away from both fucking bushes.
Right.
And thankfully nothing happened on that.
Oh yeah, you have to watch out for rattlesnakes because even when I worked in the oil field, we had this one rattlesnake that was on our trailer that was loaded down with the pipe I was mentioning a while ago.
Yep.
And we got down to the bottom row, and we started moving those out, and here's just rattler, just getting it.
Yep.
And I'm gonna walk over there, and I was gonna pick it up by its tail and strike it like a whip. Because if you do that hard enough, you'll pop their head off.
Yep.
And I was going to do that. And everybody around, especially my bosses, they were freaking the fuck out. And like, don't go near, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm just going to fucking kill it. Calm your tits.
Yep.
And then I was like, fine, fuck it. And it ended up slithering off the trailer onto the ground. And this old Mexican guy, he walked over there and did exactly what I was going to do.
Yep. Just walk up, just whack them, and
Yep.
we I had a buddy that worked at the airport in Mesa that was right near where I used to live in Arizona, and he sent me a photo one night. He's like, if you're cold, they're cold, bring them inside. So he worked at the baggage area, so they have it's a very small airport. It does more like UPS and USPS type freight, but they technically do flights to like the Midwest, and I think they do like one flight a week to Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So he worked baggage. So he worked in like their little like sheds or whatever like that, that they had on the tarmac that you could kind of like go in and like sit down. You would store shit in there. And he had a video of him just walking in, like round in the corner, and they're like curled up in the corner is just a rattlesnake that came inside and like decided to hang out in their shed. And he's like, if you're cold, they're cold, bring them inside. I'm like, fuck that. Like, burn that shed to the ground. I don't care what it costs. Like,
right. There's, I don't know a lot about snakes, other than the ones that are local to me and pretty much indigenous to Texas. But when I was a kid, I was probably 8 to 10 years old, and I was at my cousin's house, and we used to, go into his grandpa, my uncle's barn, and we would get different things out to mess with, and he had these little bikes that we could ride. And I walked in there, and there was one window off to the left side, and that was the only light coming in at the moment, and other than the main door I just opened up. But underneath that window there was this fucking snake, and you know how cobras, they'll stand up and they'll flare their necks out into the wing,
Yep.
This fucking snake stood up like that and opened its neck like a fucking cobra. And I know cobras aren't here at all unless someone brings them over legally. So to this day, I still don't know what kind of fucking snake that was, because I shut that gate and ran for my life.
I know what one you're talking about. Like, I'm not a snake expert. God damn it. I do know that there is a snake though that like I want to say it's like a hognose or something like that. I'm looking up right now. Yeah, the hognose snake. Yeah. Yeah, they're actually not venomous, but they will act like they puff themselves up to make them look more dangerous than they are.
Mm-hmm. Do they open their head like a cobra does?
Very similar, yeah. Not quite as wide, but they do puff out their neck and stuff like that. Yep.
Are they indigenous to Texas?
Let me see here.
Because that's the thing. Over the years, I've talked to people about it, and I don't think there's really any snakes that I know of, or any people I talk to that are in Texas that would do that.
Yeah, Eastern Texas. Yep.
Okay. Huh, maybe that's what it was then. But yeah, all I thought was fucking cobra. Nope. Not today, Satan.
Yep. My only other snake, like I used to run into gardener snakes and black snakes like that all the time. But when I was down in Florida, actually, I forget if it was Disney or Universal. We were down there once, and we were waiting. I think it was Disney because we were waiting at like right outside the hotel. We were waiting at like the bus station they have to bring you to the park. And so you're sitting there. There's like benches, and then there's a hill that goes down to this river that like the river runs like around the hotel or whatever.
Yeah.
And there was a snake, and I told my dad, I'm like, Dad, there's a snake down there. And so he goes and he gets, because he grew up like he spent some time in Florida, so he's like, it's probably like a water moccasin, so like stay the fuck away from it. So he goes and he tells like the person at the bus station that's like with the radio, so they call someone. Truck pulls up, like pest control pulls up, guy goes down, he's like, oh, it's probably just a gardener snake, and he has the little wand with the little clamp thing at the end. He clamps it, and the snake opens its mouth, it's all white. And then my dad's like, oh, that's a cottonmouth. He's like, no, it's not. No, it's just a gardener snake. My dad's like, yeah, let it bite you.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, you don't fuck with those or like copperheads.
Nope. Yep. Don't fuck with
I killed, I don't know how many of them when I worked in the oil field, just always being out in the woods, you know. That's the shit you had to worry about. That and poison oak or poison ivy and fucking spiders.
Yep. By the way, RGK762, hello. I am doing well. Don't worry about being late. I'll probably keep it. I know I said I was going to cut this off at 8, but I'll probably keep it running until like 8:30ish or so, and then I can
I was a little late. I had some errands to run around.
It's all good.
I actually just got back home while we were talking.
But yeah, so I ran into those, like, but outside that, I don't. The only other kind of close incident I had, it wasn't even that close. It was more just like, yeah, definitely don't want to get stuck in there. Is my my one buddy from up north, his uncle who lives like, I guess it's middle north Pennsylvania. He owns a farm, and so he raises cattle on the farm. More dairy cows, but he does have a couple bulls. And one time we were out there, and my buddy's dog, he had this little bulldog at the time, ran into the bullpen. So like, I run in after it, and like the bull noticed me, and I like scooped this little bulldog off, and I'm just like running. Like, thankfully, I knew the gate was unlocked. So like, I run out and I like open up the gate, like chuck the bulldog, and she just kind of like hits the ground, just kind of rolls, and go turn around, slam the gate. But by that time, the bull was, you know, he wasn't full speed, but he was definitely coming over. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want him getting close enough to cause any scenes or anything like that. So,
right.
But because bulls will mess you up. I mean, some bulls are fine, but there's other bulls that are, yeah, they can get nasty.
Oh yeah, I actually witnessed firsthand, you know, a bull fuck up this dude. I went to a local rodeo a few years back, and I was sitting there and I was watching the bullpen because it was just off to the right of me. You could clearly see it. And I saw this one particular bull was agitated for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe he was just pissed off. But all of a sudden, I look over there and this guy, I don't know if he crawled over or crawled in or whatever, but I just see this fucking bull just with his horns just wrecked him up against a fucking metal fence and just kept punching him with his head, picking him up, and he threw him up in the air. Like, they had to stop everything, and they had an ambulance come in and take him, and then in the field next to it, they had a helicopter come and land to care flight him off.
Jesus.
Like, he fucked him up.
Yeah, they can be nasty. But outside of that, luckily, I've never run into anything too serious. Like, I've got like thrown from horses and stuff like that, but it was never like a malicious. The horse meant it. It was the horse got spooked. Like, anytime I've ever got thrown from a horse, it was because the horse got. I literally, for a while there, I was riding a horse. The horse's name was Spooky. So should have been my red flag there. I got thrown from Spooky a couple times because Spooky had one eye, And so, like, if you were riding around and something popped off, like over on this side of the horse's head where he didn't have an eye, he'd freak the fuck out and like he'd jump and like he'd jump and rotate his body. And I used to sometimes ride bareback, and there's a couple of times where we'd be out in the field just kind of like riding around or whatever, and someone in the barn, like one of the horses would kick something or someone would drop something or whatever, and Spooky would flip out. And one time I was on a saddle, I got thrown. The other two times I was bareback, and just both times got chucked and like hit the ground. Was just like, oh, son of a bitch, fucking Spooky. God damn it, why am I riding you? Like,
Yeah, one time I got thrown from a horse. It wasn't the horse's fault at all. It was actually equipment malfunction. I had my horse in a full gallop. We were just fucking hauling ass down dirt road, and the strap that goes under the belly and then the right stirrup strap just broke. And
shit.
the saddle goes one direction, and because the stirrup broke as well, I went one way, and I'm sitting there trying to, grab the fucking horn of the saddle,
And
it's
just,
going the opposite way, and I just fucking hit that ground face first.
Ooh.
Yeah, that took the wind out of me quick, fast, in a hurry.
Yeah, I fell off in like a trot, not a full gallop. I fell off in a trot, and that hurt enough. Yeah, it sucks the wind out of you because you don't realize how high you're sitting on a horse till you fall off.
Exactly. But I had to get back up there. But since the saddles, broke, kind of jerry rigged it just to get back to the house. And the horse, felt bad. He turned around and came back to check on me and was nudging me to get up. And at first I didn't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
I was just I was in pain.
Yeah.
But I could see how bad the horse, felt. So I went and got back on him, and we just, slow walked it back to the house.
Yeah. That was the nice thing about Spooky. Like he actually, every horse, I think I've been thrown 5 or 6 times. I've been thrown, and because for a couple years though, like there I was riding almost every single week, and it's just part of riding a horse. Like and that's why I got told day one of riding a horse is like, if you ride horses, you're gonna fall off or you're gonna get thrown. It's just gonna happen if you ride them long enough. And so thankfully I was never got like thrown in like gravel or like on concrete or anything like that. It was always like a field, but sometimes that ground wasn't so soft. And yeah, like the first time Spooky did it, he came back and he's nudging me, and I was just like, oh, you're go. But like I felt bad. Like after like 5 seconds, I was like, he didn't mean to. Like I got to be considerate of him. He has one eye. Like if I had one eye and something like all of a sudden I hear like a big bang over here, like I'm gonna be like, what the fuck? And imagine like a little person riding on me, like they're gonna,
Exactly.
I can't really I can't hold it against him. And I knew with riding that horse, like, and he was a great horse, but I knew with riding him, like if something happened and I wasn't paying attention, like every time I got thrown, it was because I wasn't paying enough attention and I wasn't prepared for it.
And the first time I ever got thrown, I actually got bucked off because my sister was walking next to me while I was riding the horse, and she tripped and fell, which spooked the horse, and he just reared up on his hind legs and and just bucked me off the back, and I hit the ground, but luckily I hit like a very thick patch of grass, so it didn't really hurt. And I jumped up and was like, I want to do that again.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't mind falling because we would do stuff in the arena, and like the arena was nice because it was like that. It wasn't wood dust or like wood chips. It was like sawdust almost, like on the floor, mixed with like obviously dirt and mud or whatever. So, but it was soft. And one time I got a similar situation, like horse just bucked me, and I went whoop right off the back, like somersaulted right off the back, and hit the ground. Was like, oh, this is a lot better than falling in a field. I can do this all day. Like this is okay. But well, folks, it is 8:30 Eastern, whatever 30. in other time zones. Appreciate everyone that did show up tonight. I think I'm going to call it just because I do have some work stuff I got to do before Matt's chat at whatever time he runs it, like an hour and a half or so. He'll fire it up probably.
Probably.
So I'm going to go do that. But I, again, appreciate everyone for showing up. If you have suggestions or things you want to talk about in the future, drop them down below. Happy to talk. And then 2S. Like 2 seconds? I'm confused, Dwayne. Oh, deuces. Huh. Deuces. God damn. I'm an idiot sometimes. My brain's fried after it's only Tuesday. I'm fucked the rest of the week. But see y'all next week. Have a good one. Chat with you later.
All right, brother. See you later.